Welcome to @MarketingKitchen TV Q&A Live. All you need to do is go to @MarketingKitchen TV on Twitter, use the hashtag Q&A, and I will answer your questions here. Welcome, marketing chefs. I've got something truly special cooking in our Omni-Channel oven today. Bonus Chapter 8. Up next in the Marketing Kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen, the Marketing Kitchen. Hi, I'm Ron Vining, your host of Marketing Kitchen TV. Welcome to @MarketingKitchen TV Q&A Live. All you need to do is go to @MarketingKitchen TV on Twitter, use the hashtag Q&A, and I will answer your questions here. 8 of 8. We're here. It's over. Not yet. Got 44 minutes more to go. I thank you for the opportunity of being able to answer more questions here. So this is the 8 of 8 episodes for our fall 2020 session here on Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live. Okay, I'm back, and hopefully you're back here with me. This is a bonus video. So we already did Chapter 6 for 6, and I decided that there's more questions that need to be answered here, so I'm going to do a lightning round and do a video 7 and a video 8. So it'll end up being, we'll end up having what should have been 6 of 6, will end up being 8 of 8, but more Tim curation. This would be an interesting question to answer. I think of the gram as the top. As the top marketing place, but could people actually find an alternative? What gram? What are you talking about? Instagram. Slang there. All right, Tim, thanks. Instagram continues to boom with different social networking communities and opportunities. However, will users disappear from Instagram due to the overwhelming amount of ads? And I'm not sure if I answered this question or not, but I think I would say the answer is absolutely yes. I actually used to enjoy looking at the platform, but now I don't. Especially, you know what I don't like? Is that they now are offering you suggested posts to look at. So wait a second. I follow specific accounts because I want specific type of content, but that's not good enough. They want to increase your stickiness onto the platform, so they're now suggesting similar accounts for you to look at. Maybe some of you guys like that, maybe you don't. I don't, because I don't want to see it. No, in most cases I don't. So I guess now I'm hedging myself. But yes, the more and more ads that are on that platform, the less and less likely people are to use it, which means the ads are less and less effective. So I used to say that Instagram was the best platform to advertise on. So I don't know, maybe you don't know that or not. I used to recommend that Instagram was the best platform to advertise on. I now say that it's the second best platform to advertise on. The best platform would be YouTube, but your video ads have got to be point on, because if they're not good, people are going to try to click out of them the second that they're up. And there's nothing worse than people anticipating or dreading seeing your video ad and then clicking past it. Now, if you're doing pure B2B, like sales, like enterprise sales, then that would be LinkedIn, because then you target specific decision makers, level that they're at in a company, specific industry, specific location, and you do pure click-through ads with them, but you pay per click. But it's expensive. It ends up being $5 to $10 per click, so you got to be very careful with that. Anyway, hope that answers your question there, Danielle. And great curation yet again, Tim. Let's see. I think this could have untapped potential for a company, but how could they do this cost effectively? Let's see. Have I answered this one? Social media marketing provides countless benefits to brands and businesses. How powerful can the use of social media marketing be when combined with search engine optimization? I think I've answered this one before. Read more on the benefits of integration. Well, yeah, so I'm sure the source is great, so please go to @MarketingKitchenTV, hashtag Q&A, and more specifically, you go to @RonaldVining, hashtag MarketingQ, MKTQ, and you could find the source that is right here that Emily provided. But yeah, social media marketing is the best form of marketing that's there. If you use paid promotion with it, then it certainly enhances it there. But if you, how does that work with search engine optimization? So yeah, SEO and SEM work hand in hand with each other. The idea of that is that you develop your website, you put it in or your app, you have it categorized properly on a store, you have all of your meta tags done properly on your website, you put the appropriate amount of content on each page, you have the appropriate meta tags on each page, you have you have links to share on those particular pages. You create the content, so that's the SEO piece of this. Make sure your site response time is optimized too, so it loads quickly enough, etc. Make sure that it's mobile responsive, etc. You seed content across all of your social networks with links that link back to that particular page on the website, so that when people are searching, they will either find it on social, click through and go to your website, or it'll come up, your website will top in search results. So here, actually, so if you don't know, here's how that process works. So what would happen is that let's say I've got that content on my website, but I share that content on every social network that my brand is on. And then maybe I hire some influencers and they have it on their pages and everything too. But the key is that all of those social sites have that content with a link going back to your website. So what that is that Google will see all of those backlinks as that the source of all of this content was your website. And you as a brand, by the way, when you share that information on social, you should share that from your website to those social platforms. Don't just post it directly on those platforms. Have a share feature built in on your site, and you share that to those channels. So then Google will see the rankings of that being relevant content. So when somebody types in similar keywords, so that's why hashtags are so important, just like meta tags, etc. And also natural language. You want to make sure that it's written in the natural language patterns that a customer would use. Anyway, all of that being said, with all of that, when somebody searches for it, they will see that Google will rank it high. It'll be on that first page of search, 3 or 4 there, without spending any money beyond creating the content, posting, etc. So you might have to need a social marketing media team to take care of that for you. But organically, let's say, that will work. Now, if you pay and promote those posts, then that will even amplify that further. Great question, Emily. I'm not sure if I answered it before, but I certainly answered that at a different level. And Tim, more curation. I'm going to dedicate this. This is no longer Marketing Kitchen TV. This is now Tim Donovan TV. All right. I think, so you're the influencer. I'm glad I decided to do that on this particular question. I think using an influencer could have it can have drawbacks. I think using an influencer could have drawbacks because you have a risk of what they do with their personal life. Some are not mature enough to deal with the large number of followers and daily scrutinizing. Could this be one we answer? Yeah, sure. And I agree with everything that you just said there. And I don't believe influencers are good, but there are influencers with small followings but dedicated fans that are going to be better for you than somebody that just has a huge audience. And again, it all depends on what you're looking for. You might just be looking for exposure. You might actually not be looking for a conversion. So when we were going back to question in chapter 6 or 5, it was about KPIs for a small business. You need to measure or ask yourself, if you're using an influencer or the type of marketing you're doing, are you looking for conversions or are you looking for brand awareness? All right, but the question that Tim wanted me to answer here is influencers also have their drawbacks despite its heavy and popular tool for marketers today. Like this Forbes article mentions, is user-generated content a better alternative? Is it an evolution to influencer marketing? Well, no. user-generated content was happening before that influencer space. But let's also remember, Vicky, what influencers are. We've had influencers for a long time. So TV commercials featured who? Athletes, celebrities, famous people for whatever they might. Some people are famous or infamous for reasons why we don't know. I just watched an Adam Sandler movie yesterday. Anyway, I'm trying to remember the name of that one. But I've been watching endless Adam Sandler movies lately, and I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's because I look for some comic relief, even though the movies are not always funny. But I do like that most of them are set in New England, or particularly in Massachusetts, so it's fun to see the different locales. Anyway, in this particular movie, it started out in Somerville, and since I'm from Medford, it was fun to see those locales in that film. Oh, anyway, he was in high school, and he had an affair with his teacher, or he was in junior high and he had an affair with his teacher, and she got pregnant. And the name of the movie was That's My Boy. That's right, it was That's My Boy. And so what a stupid movie, but it was hilarious. So I do recommend that if you're looking for a good laugh. But it's not socially correct at any means whatsoever, so I'm not endorsing the film. Anyway, my point is that he was an influencer when he was young because he was like a reality TV star, okay? Anyway, I got off track there. And I'm not. These are lightning rounds, supposed to go fast here. So there was user-generated content before. We've had influencers before. We called them celebrities, whether they were real celebrities or whether they were fake celebrities. And I think a lot of our influencers today follow that same thing. Some of them are real and some of them are just fake. So don't just judge an influencer based on the amount of followers or connections they have or amount of posts that they have. You would want to dig in, and there's articles. So you would want to Google for like what are the top 10 things to look for in an influencer. And you'll find some really great sources to read about that. I've written some on LinkedIn as well too, so I have some posts. I'm not remembering the actual posts off the top of my head now, but I have written on these before. But I mean, some of the things that you look for is what is the demographic of their audience? What is the type of content that this influencer is known as? What space are they actually an influencer in? So if somebody's got 300,000, a million connections on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever the platform is going to be, do they post content related to what your brand does? Do they have followers that can be activated and will actually be a transaction, a conversion occur? And if they don't, then that's useless for you. So the next question though is about user-generated content. So the next aspect of that, you say about an alternative. So it's not an evolution to, but it certainly can be an alternative. And so I would say that if you can get customers to talk on your channel, if you can get customers to provide feedback to your post, Google loves that in terms of search rate rankings. And obviously other users like reading what other customers have had to say. So product reviews is a great example of user-generated content. And there's ways to attract that. You can have contests. Like I bought some Tempur-Pedic memory foam pillows directly from Tempur-Pedic's website when they had a sale. And they offered, because I don't do reviews normally online, not interested in that, most reviews are negative. I will only write about a product if it was like the best thing I ever bought, or if it was the worst thing or service I ever got. Not if something's in the middle of the road, not normally anyway. That's just human nature. So you always have to take that with a grain of salt when you're reading a review. Same thing is true with teacher evaluation. So I find that there's really no middle ground, and typically it's either the student that absolutely hated their professor or it's the student that absolutely loved them. But if it was a middle of the road experience, they didn't bother to say anything. And so that really can skew the results, either good or bad. And typically people will write bad before they'll write good. regardless of how good something is. It's just human nature that's there. Anyway, yes, so user-generated content, especially in the form of reviews. Oh yeah, Tempur-Pedic. The only thing that got me to finally write my review on Tempur-Pedic is that they were giving away a Tempur-Pedic mattress and pillows and mattress pad and floor mats. Anyway, an entire house worth of memory foam products. And so I bought a very expensive memory foam bed for here in my home in Singapore. And since I just bought a home in the US also, I need to fully furnish another home again. And that will actually be my third home that in my lifetime now that I've purchased and had to fully furnish. So yeah, I did the review on the 2 pillows that I bought because I was hoping that, you know, maybe I'd win a whole household of memory foam products for that home in the US. But they got a review out of me. They got 2 of them. They got 2 good ones out of me. And also it biases the review, right? Because you think that if you write a negative review, you might not be eligible for that contest. So anyway, that's a nice little trick to do. Unfortunately, I did not win. Okay, yeah, so that's a great question, Vicky. Hopefully I answered that. Tim, how many more questions you got? I think one trend would be making sure you have a good influencer. You have to go with a person on the rise that has potential in marketing. This would be a good question. Okay, let's see. You go. I answered a question from you in chapter 4, I think it was. Social media marketing has created a new way for businesses to market their product. While this trend continues to rise, it brings up another question. What are other trends that should be utilized to a business to be successful at social media marketing? I don't know whether I answered this one or not. But yeah, social media marketing is, I mean, it's not new, it's not revolutionary. It's what we've been doing probably about 10 years now, I think. Are we getting any better at it? No, most companies still aren't getting good at it. What are some trends that can be utilized for a business to be successful at it? Yeah, I mean, so I just touched on one. Good user-generated content is one. Integrating it or optimizing it with search engine optimization is another. Content marketing is one thing. The area that I specialize in is storytelling. Making sure that you've got a proper close. Making sure that the content, like a blog that I wrote about value-added content, making sure that there's value in the marketing that's there. Value is really where it's at. I would say above all else, right, it's about the gimmick that catches your attention. It's about the compelling content or story that keeps your attention. Maybe it's about the user or the user's comment. Maybe it's about the influencer that you hire. Or maybe it's about the value in terms of what you're offering the customer, what they'd be getting back if they continue to follow through and a conversion happened and there was a transaction. So yeah, I mean, it's just about, and you know, and then it's about where you're posting it too. So it's about having the right content delivered on the right channel at the right time to the right audience member. Yeah. I tell you, the sightlines are just horrible because to stare on an iPad at nothing as opposed to staring in the center of the screen. Apple, will you please? Maybe I don't need to. I can buy an M1 Apple Silicon MacBook now instead of this iPad that I just bought in March. But why can't the camera be right here so that I could be looking right here? Or actually, you know, rather than have the camera be right over here so that it's so unnatural to stare there. Okay, anyway, I hope that answered the question for you. Good one. 10 more questions. What? This would be a good one to answer as the world is constantly changing. As students graduate, we need to know the answers to these types. Oh yeah? Let's see. On Tim Donovan TV. Shift learning strategies that social media can help foster productivity in the workplace. But will professional social media and collaboration tools need to make big changes to keep up with this new normal of virtual collaboration? No, not really. We get so caught up in, and not you, Rachel, so I'm talking about in industry. We get so caught up in wanting to reinvent the wheel. We get so caught up in renaming something that didn't need to be renamed. And we just, paint something a new color, put a different logo on it, and we call it something new, but it's really the same thing. So many things. So, I've been around a while now, from being a paper boy to a dumpster salesman to a marketing director of a shopping mall to being in charge of public relations for the MBTA. I'm only mentioning my marketing-based roles. I had management roles too that then I got promoted from the different ones. But then becoming a campaign strategist to then developing sales enablement programs for consumer electronic companies, developing retail store design to enhance sales for clothing or consumer electronic companies, to developing enterprise-based sales solutions for SAP, Google. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to say is that in all of these, did I ever do anything? Oh yeah, and promoted bands and albums and different things. Okay, anyway, just trying to give you a sliver of different industries that I've worked in, or different, titles that it might have been. So some were advertising, some were corporate communication, some were PR, some were sales, some were marketing, some were branding. All right, all of those. The point that I say about all of that is that while we change the name onto some of these things, the core aspect of them really didn't change. So when you ask whether professional social media and collaboration tools need to make big changes to keep up with the new normal of collaboration, then I say no. I say they don't. I think the only thing that would help to enhance them would be an integration. So it's because, there's so many of them. It's about integrating them. So it's about a better integration of your social channels, maybe to your website, a better integration of your social to Blackboard. If you're a student, a better integration of those social or professional tools to your chat features, or again, I say going back to your website, or to your supply chain, or to whatever it is related back to your specific line of business, right? Anyway, that's just my thought. I think the more things change, the more they stay the same, and the same is true in this particular space, I think, in my opinion. All right, Tim, let's see. I've always wondered the answer to this question. I think no way. I've seen athletes pretend to be chewing subs from Subway and drinking soda from Pepsi. Even Dave Chappelle said, I'm paraphrasing, Pepsi paid me last, so I drink Pepsi. What do you think? And that's so true. So the Jennifer's question was, and I love Dave Chappelle. I think Dave Chappelle is fantastic. Brand identity is important to show consumers who supports a company's product and message. Hey, MarketingKitchen TV, do you think companies actually take the time to ensure that influencers use the product and that it isn't just for show? No. In some cases, absolutely not. But I think companies certainly should. So the answer to your question straight up is a lot of companies don't take the time to do their homework to make sure that they actually use it, know how to use it, etc. And other companies just frankly don't even care. They just try to get a name and that they force the person to use it. what's fun about Apple TV Plus, well, fun anyway, is that every person in every show is using an Apple product. Have you noticed that yet? If you haven't, or maybe if you don't have Apple TV Plus, but every person in every show is using a product. And, oh, I hate to tell you this, but only the good guys are using iPhones. If any character in any of their shows is not using an iPhone, guess what? They're the bad guy. Shh. Apple will have to change that formula soon, or it just would be too predictive. So anyway, I hope I answered that question for you. Companies should be more scrutinize who it is that they're hiring to use their product, to sponsor, to promote, or influence around their product, but sometimes they just don't. And users see that. When I see an influencer hawking a product, if they're not authentic or organic, then no. Like, you know, Lego obviously doesn't sponsor any of the Lego videos I do on Marketing Kitchen TV. But if Lego started to sponsor my channel, I think people would know that it was organic, because they could go back and they could see my videos and they could see my passion that I absolutely love Lego. And actually right now, out of this corner of my eye, I'm staring at my Lego Mario sets that are on my counter here, that you see when you're watching the opening crawl for Marketing Kitchen TV. The counter that's in my kitchen, I got Mario on this side, and I've got Lego Star Wars Christmas on this side. Yeah, that's right, there's Lego Star Wars Christmas stuff. Yeah, anyway, so I'm a true blue Lego fan. So if they ever sponsored me, or if Apple ever sponsored me, it would be real. So I think, you know, consumers can spot that. So anyway, good question there, Jennifer. Thank you for that. Oh, Tim, how many more questions do you have, my friend? Oh, all right. They're fantastic. I gotta go. I gotta move on. I gotta go. I can't do it. I gotta go to Teresa. And so Teresa, so we've now ended our session of Tim Donovan TV. And so let's go to Teresa. No offense, Tim, but your peers might actually begin to want to do me in. All right, Teresa asks, I think this would be an interesting question to answer. Will users hit a limit of the number of ads they want to see while scrolling on their phone? Is this the annoyance of excessive ads enough to drive away users? And this is a question that I already answered. I guess I got to go back to Tim Donovan TV. But I already answered this question about Instagram. This is the one that, Tim, you were the gram. But yeah, all right, I didn't cover that one already. Next up, Teresa, let's see. I think this would be a great question to answer. Is this a trend that you noticed as well? Are there some products that may not utilize online advertising tactics because consumers just choose based off of external factors like price? And Connor asks, online advertising is becoming more powerful every day, yet I have found a lack of advertising online for regular consumer goods. Why haven't consumer goods, consumer companies invested and adapted to online advertising? So when you say consumer goods, Connor, I've got to just guess what you mean. So you mean like products that say P&G might put out, or like Colgate, Palmolive might put out, or Unilever-based products? Is that what you mean by consumer products? So you're talking about things like Oreos or Doritos or things of that nature, or Mr. Clean, etc. So yeah, okay. I'm going to guess that the reason why, and I'm just going to guess, but the reason why you're probably not seeing ads for that could be twofold. One, you do not fall into the demographic profile that if those brands are advertising on, that they're trying to target you. So maybe cleaning products and F&B is like store-bought ones as opposed to prepared and ready to eat. Foods maybe are not a target to you. Whereas I see ads for Ben & Jerry's all the time, but then again, I've interacted with the Ben & Jerry's account, and I've entered a Ben & Jerry's contest before. So maybe that's why I see ads for that. But the main reason why you might not be seeing ads beyond the targeting aspect is the fact that they're looking at the conversion model, and their testing has shown that doing such ads only create brand awareness. They don't actually develop in an immediate transaction. And right now we're looking at an immediate type of transaction space. So that's really, I think, what's monopolizing social at the moment. So I hope that shed some light or answered your question that was there. So anyway, so thank you, Teresa. That was a good question. Let's see here. In these unprecedented times, blank remains a threat and a business game changer. Yeah, sure. By ending most businesses, definitely. With the wealth of information via internet and hearsay, it could prove to be difficult to convince the general population of stockholders to buy into a PoC here. All right, so what's the question that you're curating right here? PoC is used to determine if a product will have a viable financial return in business development. Companies are eager to develop a vaccine, but will it have financial success or failure? What are the risks? Yeah, all right, so sure. So companies are eager to develop one, but will it have financial success or failure? What are the risks? Yeah, so I mean, it's trendy right now. So two stock segments that are quite popular are guns, ammunition, anything related to PPC, and of course PPE rather, and POC, so pharmaceutical companies, etc. What are the risks? Well, you know, obviously the risk could be that we have a genetic mutation 3 to 6 months down the line, and since some countries are probably going to force people to be vaccinated, which is never a good thing in my opinion, then we'll wind up into a situation like the movie with Will Smith, where there was a vaccine and a rush for a cure, and the vaccine ended up turning everybody into zombies, and it destroyed the world. So yeah, that could be one. I'm obviously giving an extreme here, but the financial success will be limited. It will last, it will be a short window, I think, and the risk could be like what we saw with Polaroid, with Operation Warp Speed, and some companies being well, okay, I don't want to say, I don't know, it's not proven, but so some companies' stock rose immediately and then fell quickly. So anyway, yeah, got to be careful with that. But anyway, hope that helped on that take on that there. Interesting question, being able to adapt to change in the future. Interested in hearing your point of view regarding businesses that are rebuilding and rebranding. Would explore digital transformation be a wise investment for longevity of the company? Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a business and if you are adapting to, or trying to rapidly adapt to, or being forced to, as most companies are, to adopt digital transformation, then now would be the time to be making investments in that particular tech. And that's why, like I said, even for my own case, I'm developing businesses and platforms that are not dependent upon me having to fly to another country, have face-to-face interactions with my clients. Could we do them on Zoom? Yeah. Have companies asked me to train or speak on Zoom? Yeah. Have I done it? No. Why? I have no interest. I'm doing this. I like the real world. I mean, that's just me. I'm real. I like the real world. I want to be in the real world. I'm not interested. As much as digital and social and all of that, yeah, I advise companies on that, but that's not where I want to be. It's just not the time that I spend online is primarily, not for clients, is with you guys. And yeah, it's not my business model. So I'm developing platforms that are all digital, but they don't involve me being digital. Does that make sense? All right, so, but you asked, be productive, agile, and efficient without completely replacing your current system. Can digital transformation happen when you focus on rebuilding and reimagining instead of completely ripping your legacy system out by the roots? Yeah, it certainly can. And I gave this example several questions ago about the small business, talking about taking your physical on-premise IT and moving it up to the cloud. Talking about going away from, I was saying, having your employees use their own phones, their tablets, or their laptops, or even not investing in laptops, but then investing in tablets or larger smartphones. So finding technology that allows you to transform, but does not, excuse me, does not really consume resources to the level of buying all new hardware would, right? If that makes sense. So you want to get about the right combination of hardware, software, shifting more so to the cloud, shifting more so to consumer-based tech as opposed to enterprise level tech, if that's making sense. Great question. Victoria here asks, this is a great question with technology and innovation. I've been reading a lot of long hashtags lately. I haven't made a comment about it, but why don't keep your hashtags short and sweet? Also, if your hashtag, you should use capital letters in between different words so that the hashtag is easier to see. And a hashtag really should only be something that somebody else might look for. So Victoria, I don't think I'd actually ever type in hashtag technology and innovation. I just wouldn't. I would probably do hashtag technology, and I'd probably do hashtag innovation. That would be a much more successful hashtag. So, but anyway, sorry for the tangent, but just trying to help out. But you're not the only one. A lot of people do that with hashtags. Short, sweet. Okay, so technology innovation being absolutely dire in today's society, you would think every company excels in utilizing it, but clearly they don't. Which brands do you think are succeeding, even failing in digital marketing? I love those questions. Those are sometimes some of the hardest questions to answer though. There's so many brands out there, and what brands are doing right one day, they may be doing totally wrong another day. So I try to stay away from talking about them because sometimes whatever I say today is completely just 3 months down the road is invalidated. But let me see what the question was that you were curating. It was the NBA one. Great example right there, right? So I already talked about, I answered this question already, talking about the NBA and actually how they had a drop off because of how they engaged. So that's an example of what I mean. So a number of brands who jumped on the market of, again, don't want to be controversial here, but so many brands have jumped on social issues as part of their marketing, which is trendy, but I would never do my marketing on a trend. Now, I would do, let's say if the Super Bowl's coming up, I would do something that involved the Super Bowl in my marketing to get attention during that thing, and then that ad might reoccur on social every time a Super Bowl happens, and that's great, that's a bonus. But if I jump on the bandwagon of different causes, then I may be doing my brand more harm than good. So I want to stay away from answering that one further. But I think that's a great question, and there are a number of brands that are killing it, and there are a lot of brands that are killing themselves by what they do. Lewis, I haven't seen you on here, which is great to find. No, not great that I haven't seen you, but you are always the first to respond to one of the Q&A videos, and typically one of the first to post on the channel. So anyway, I appreciate all of that. So great that I got a question curated from you here. Victoria's question about CLV, customer lifetime value, would be a great start for our questioning. Oh yeah, hey, that must mean that I'm at the end then. If I've got a curated question from you, then since you're usually first, then that means this might be the last. And my voice is giving out, so that's great. So Victoria's question about customer lifetime value would be a great start for our questioning. It would be useful to hear your experience and the tools that you have used in your career as a marketer to retain valued customer relationships. Okay, great. Thanks a lot for that, Lewis. And Victoria asks, customer lifetime value and technology are the backbone of a company. According to Forbes, almost $140 billion is lost yearly from avoidable consumer spending. What are the best ways to show consumers they are valued to retain customer lifetime value? Well, yeah, so great question. And if you're not aware of it, you should be, that it is much cheaper for a company, less expensive rather, cheaper is slang. It is much less expensive to retain a customer than it is to spend the money to acquire a new one. So why do companies abuse their existing customers to the detriment of their own business by then having to spend more money to market to acquire new ones? And I don't know why they do this. I really don't know. Why do we take advantage of people in our family? Right? Because we can get away with it. I gave an example about the telco or insurance companies we talked about, where companies, rather than say, hey, you've been a great customer, let me give you some money back. You've been a great customer, let me give you an extra channel in your bundle package. You've been a great customer, let me give you, lower your deductible from $1,500 to $1,000, right? Whatever it might be. Companies, for whatever reason, penny pinchers, they are trying to save money, so then therefore they're looking at a short-term gain. That's what it is. That's really what it's all about. We have become, both companies and individuals, we tend to seek short-term gratification as opposed to long-term success. And that would be the reason why. So there's the answer, Victoria and Lewis. I think shareholders and corporations that obviously people have shares in, and consumers as well, are looking for short-term gain as opposed to long-term sustained success. And that's what's driving the market at the moment. And that would be the reason why we're seeing trends of that nature. But if you're a business, especially if you're a small business, you would want to invest in that customer that you have, because they're proven to pay. And you want to keep them on the hook, because I'd rather keep a customer satisfied than have to go through the expense of trying to find a new one. So fantastic question, Victoria, and great curation, Lewis. That brings us to the end. So thank you very much for participating by asking the questions, as well as coming back here to YouTube to hear my answer. And this concludes the Fall 2020 segment. So instead of 6 chapters, we ended up with 8. So 6 regular ones and 7 and 8 being bonus. So thank you very much. I appreciate all of the questions. And Tim, I hope you don't feel slighted. This was Tim Donovan TV for quite some time. I needed to go on. And I think this was enough content, more than some of you had even expected. I hope that you've all found it relevant. And please continue to engage with the channel for months, years to come. Thank you so much for your participation. Have a great Christmas, New Year. Bye-bye. Wow. Thank you so much for 8 amazing chapters of Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live. There were so many fantastic questions that you asked and were curated that I was able to answer here on the channel. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do a bonus 7 and this bonus 8 here, so that we had more time to talk about marketing, or all things marketing related to digital and social, and whether it be advertising, branding, communication, sales, things around the situation that we're in this environment. It's definitely been a challenging time, and I hope some of my answers have helped. And I've really enjoyed that, and now I look forward to your comments below. And I look forward to engaging with you not only in these videos in the comments section, but then also in the future across Twitter, Instagram, as well as here on YouTube. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, there's always fresh content simmering on our storytelling stovetop. So whatever happens in this kitchen shouldn't stay in this marketing kitchen. I'm Ron Vining, your host, reminding you to invite your family and friends to the next episode of Marketing Kitchen TV.